August 2nd, 1985. It was a calm and peaceful afternoon at the Denver Yard in Denver, Colorado, as the four-man Burlington Northern crew were getting ready for their long trip towards Cheyenne, Wyoming. Today's train was Extra 6311 West. Extra 6311 West was a manifest train with 27 empties, 27 loaded cars, and a caboose. 3 locomotives were at the head end of the train. The lead unit was BN ST40 number 6311, and the trailing units were SP ST40 number 7374 and BN ST40-2 number 6367. The train was supposed to leave at 5 p.m., but it was running nearly 2 hours late due to multiple issues earlier. The conductor did get the paperwork and delivered the copy to the engineer. However, he did not review the paperwork with the engineer or the brakeman's. We'll get back to that soon and why. On this trip, the engineer and the head brakeman will be riding in the lead locomotive, the rear brakeman in the second locomotive, and finally the conductor in the caboose. The rear brakeman was supposed to be riding the caboose with the conductor, but he has volunteered to ride on the head end to assist the head brakeman with switching jobs along the way.
Meanwhile, Extra 6575 East was at Longmont with an engineer, conductor, and a brakeman, who were called on duty to take charge on an eastbound gravel train, with Burlington Northern 6575 and 6576, both being SD45s, built in October of 1971.
The gravel train was supposed to leave at 2 p.m., but because there was no car inspector, all 3 crew members had to inspect the train and do a brake test, which was required by federal regulations. And as a result, the train was also running behind schedule.
According to 6575 East track warrant, it had priority over Extra 6311 between Longmont and Clear Creek. After waiting on 2 westbounds, Extra 6575 East departed Longmont at 6:30 p.m., with the engineer and brakeman riding in the lead unit, while the conductor rode in the caboose.
7 p.m., the manifest train soon came to a stop at Clear Creek. While the train was stopped, a crew member went to check the train register for the arrival of extra 6575 East. Shortly afterwards, the conductor received a radio call from an unknown voice from his train, and the caller said, 440 Howard, 440. This would make the conductor believe that extra 6575 East already arrived at Clear Creek at 4:40 p.m. He then contacted the engineer that the train already arrived at Clear Creek already and gave him an okay to proceed out of Clear Creek and continue on westbound. But little did he know is that the gravel train actually did not arrive yet, because it was actually still west of Clear Creek. With the train still departing, the entire crew members are unaware that they are about to be on a deadly collision course with the gravel train. And shortly after the train set off a car on the siding,
The train departed at 7:10, heading straight for the gravel train. Hour later, both trains finally came into view, but it was already too late. The two trains collided head-on with one another at 7:40 p.m. near Westminster, Colorado, with a combined speed at exactly 100 miles per hour. Around the same combined speed at Hinton when a CN freight train collided head-on with a Via Rail passenger train, 5 months later. All 5 locomotives went off the rails and were destroyed in the crash, with multiple cars from both trains derailed and jackknifed into one another. The collision would also damage the support structure of U.S. Highway Bridge 36. The fuel tanks from the locomotives and tanker cars from the manifest freight erupted, creating a huge fireball, and the crash site was soon engulfed in flames, with the bridge collapsing at the same time. Thankfully, no one was occupying the bridge at the time of impact. Toxic smoke also began to rise like a spacecraft, rising so high it could be seen for at least 2 miles away. Rescuers would soon arrive at the crash site after putting out the fire, and the search for survivors would begin. However, it was a total loss for the head-end crew members, as the engineers and brakemen from Extra 6311 West and Extra 6575 East were killed instantly. The conductors from both trains survived, although the conductor from Extra 6311 would suffer from minor injuries. So, what was the cause of the collision?
First of all, as mentioned before, both trains were running behind schedule. A few minutes before the manifest train departed Denver, the conductor of 6311 West stated that he did hand over a copy of the train registration to the engineer. However, he also said that he did not have time to review the train registration to the other crew members because the yard supervisors wanted extra 6311 West to depart Denver right away. Upon stopping at Clear Creek, the conductor told the BM officials that he thought it was the rear brakeman that said 440 Howard, 440. But he later stated that he wasn't 100% sure who actually called on the radio. However, it's not possible that it was the real brakeman that called the conductor on the radio. Again, the conductor handed over the engineer a copy of the train registration. So it might have been the engineer or the head brakeman that tried to contact the conductor on the radio, not the real brakeman, because at the time of the crash, the engineer and the head brakeman were in the lead locomotive, while the rear brakeman was in the second locomotive. And the fact that the conductor gave an okay to the engineer to leave Clear Creek without actually knowing that the gravel train passed Clear Creek was a recipe for disaster. The National Transportation Safety Board released their final report on June 20th, 1986, pointing fingers at the crew of Extra 6311 West for failing to read the train registration information correctly at Clear Creek, with the conductor failing to calculate that information with the train order at Clear Creek. And it was also discovered that Extra 6575 East was speeding to make up for lost time. In the end, all 5 locomotives were deemed damaged beyond repair and destroyed, and what's left of them was scrapped. It's been 37 years since this horrific collision occurred.
But despite this, misread track warnings would still occur years later, such as the Clarendon train collision in 2002 and the Gunter train collision in 2004.